Hello, my name is Filip Nikolic. I'm a musician, producer, DJ, and together with my friend Raghav Mani, we started our reissue label called Naya Beat Records.
So Naya Beat Records is a reissue and remix label focused on unearthing and re-releasing group-based music from the Indian subcontinent and South Asian diaspora. So I'm a DJ and record collector, and I've been digging for records around the world. Being from India, though, I've always been passionate about Indian music, and I think a lot of folks think about the whole Indian scene as very Bollywood dominated, and this kind of very Bollywood disco sound from the 80s. But over time, over years of digging, I realized that there was a completely different element to that. Synth pop, dreamy, Boleric-y kind of music that were actually released by solo artists versus movie soundtracks. So I'd bring these records back, and we'd play them out at different clubs.
The project actually started as we wanted to do a mixtape, because I've done a lot of mixtapes with my old band Poolside, where we would take old songs, add them to the mixtape, and add production to kind of make the mixtape flow better. So we wanted to kind of do that with some of the tunes that he had on vinyl. And then we got into it, and all of a sudden we realized, what if we actually got all the licenses and all the permissions to re-release this stuff and actually make a compilation out of it instead of just a mixtape. Now we got edits, we got remixes, we have remasters that we did, and yeah, we're a label now.
So it's really an international effort. It starts with digging for records, not just in India, but also in South Asian diasporas and communities all over the world. Be it Jamaica, Queens, where you have a Surinamese and Guyanese population, or places like Birmingham in the UK, where you've got a big Bangla scene. Those records are then brought over here to the US, where we then start the whole remastering process.
It goes to my studio, where we do the restoration, and after that it goes to London, where it gets the vinyl mastering process, and then we have a distributor in Paris, and it gets printed in Germany.
Once we brought the records back, find stuff that we like, find stuff that we think makes sense in a curated situation, in a compilation, and then we kind of go about getting the rights cleared. That's obviously critical, because we don't want to get too excited about a track before the rights have been cleared. Once that's all done, we then start the whole vinyl ingestion process, and that starts really with my vinyl cleaning machine, the Audeze system, which is ultrasonic based, and is really kind of phenomenal at really kind of going deep inside the grooves of the records and getting all the dirt out. That's especially crucial for a lot of these records, particularly when they're from India. They've been lying in dusty record shops, and all that kind of grime and dirt collects over the years. Once that's done, we give the record a little zap with this Multi Zerostat 3 device. That's an anti-static gun, and reduces all the static, ensures that the record doesn't pick up any dust after it's been cleaned. Once the record is cleaned, we then use our VPI Scoutmaster and our Ortofon Cadenza bronze cartridge to essentially rip the vinyl. And the VPI is kind of a beast. It's super heavy, very good at reducing and keeping unwanted vibration to an absolute minimum. So that is then fed into the phono preamp, which is all tube based. It's a Tavish design phono preamp made by this guy Scott Reynolds, very known for being neutral and highly accurate in terms of what it picks up from the record. At this stage, monitoring the vinyl rip and the digital file is also crucial, and we use our Audeze headphones to look out for any clicks and pops and any artifacts the vinyl may have, and take note of that, so then Philip can have some cues when he starts his kind of cleanup and remastering process.
After we get a good clean rip, we take the files to my studio, and that's where the restoration and the mastering process begins. I'm obviously, as you can see, really into synthesizers. This one is my favorite. I've had it since I was probably like 15. It's a Korg Mini Korg 700S.
It's genius, and these guys in tandem is probably like the most used things on anything I do. The last couple of years I've been getting into a lot of modular stuff. I think it's a result of making music for so many years that you need to get re-inspired, and these things are just instant inspiration. Also, it's the same with the guitar pedals. I use it all in tandem. And hardware and knobs and wires, it's just more fun. I'm originally a guitar player. This is actually my very first guitar, a Japanese Strat with the weird tremolo system. And then over the years, I kind of became a bass player because I was touring with a band called Junior Senior from Denmark, and that was bass duty. So I became kind of better at bass than guitar. When I moved to LA, I joined I'm a Robot, and I was first keyboard and guitar player. And then after a couple of years, I ended up playing bass instead. So yeah, bass is my main thing.
First, we do the restoration, which is for removal of clicks, pops, rumble, noise, and different artifacts. And for that, I mainly use Spectral. I use Isotope RX. After that, we take it into Cubase, where we do the remastering, and also any additional production and remix production.
All this stuff is additional production. And as you can hear, there's like no punch whatsoever. The vocals are super loud. The track is all kind of like hissy and weird. This is the additional production. So basically new drums, new bass, new synthesizers, and it was on purpose that we kind of like went with the just kind of like 80s, kind of like Grandmaster Flash electro vibe. And so even though there's like, it's a really good, well-tuned room and I have really good speakers, I'm really dependent on headphones still, because like these specifically is like the Audeze LCDX. They have such crazy detail that when we're doing audio restoration especially, sometimes you can't even hear some of the clicks and pops that are on the records and on speakers. So the like detail of these is pretty incredible.
And so after we get the digital masters done at my studio, we send them to the Carver Studios in London, where this guy, Frank Merritt, who's a multi-Grammy nominated mastering engineer, he does the vinyl master. We send the vinyl lacquers to a place in Germany where it gets printed.